everyone, in this video I am remaking the cinnamon rolls I made in my previous video. However, I'm improving my method by taking away some of the things that I didn't do so well the first time I made these. So like in the previous video, I'm using the same ingredients, just improving the method. And to start off, I'm using 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm just putting that into a large mixing bowl. Then I'm taking 1/4 cup of sugar, and this is just white granulated sugar, unlike the cane sugar I used in the previous video. Then I'm also adding in some salt, and I'm just mixing that all together. Next, I'm taking 3/4 cups of milk and 3 tablespoons of butter, heating it together, then mixing it up. And then you'll see me add in a full pack of instant yeast, and then just mixing it up until it's well incorporated. Then here, I was like, oh my god, it's not really mixing in well with like the butter and milk mixture. So then I went and threw this back in the microwave and then mixed it up again until the yeast fully dissolved in the buttermilk. I'm not sure if this was the right thing to do, but that's what I did because I really wanted the yeast to be thoroughly mixed in. And then you can see me really whisking this right here. Our yeast, butter, and milk are well combined. I'm adding that into our dry ingredient mixture. And then I'm taking 1 large egg at room temperature and putting that also into the mixture, where I am now realizing that cinnamon rolls are really easy to make. Like, this is basically the dough, and I'm just taking my whisk, or my the little whisk part for my electrical hand mixer, which I was just too lazy to put the attach it to like the actual mixing part. So I just like ended up getting a wooden spoon and mixing that all together. And honestly, you're supposed to use a wooden spoon. I don't know what I was thinking, trying to hand mix such heavy dough. But anyways, I am thoroughly mixing this dough until everything is well combined, and I'm mixing it until I can no longer use a spoon, where I'm going to get my hands, get in there, and start mixing it, combining it, then kneading it to, thoroughly combine those ingredients so it can do its magic and make some cinnamon rolls. So once I'm done with my dough, I'm using parchment paper to cover my bowl. Then you don't see it here, but I'm taking a clean tablecloth and covering that over the parchment paper so my dough can set aside nicely while I make the filling. So I forgot to leave my butter out before making this video, so I literally just pulled it out of the fridge, and my butter's quite cold, so I'm like literally scraping it into my tablespoon, spreading it across to make sure it's actually 1 tablespoon, then using the bottom of my spoon to scrape it out and put it into my little microwaving bowl. And I do this 3 times because I need 3 tablespoons of butter. And then I'm adding 1/3 cup of brown sugar, as well as 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. The recipe calls for 1 tablespoon, however, I'm not a big cinnamon fan. I like a hint of cinnamon in my food or desserts, but I don't like the flavor as a whole of cinnamon. I just like a little bit. So I'm only adding 1 teaspoon. And as you can see here, because the butter wasn't softened, it was quite hard to mix to make it into that smooth cinnamon brown sugar butter. So then I attempt to like mix it as much as I can, but then I get fed up and I just put it in the microwave for about 10 to 15 seconds. Probably I put it for like 12 seconds and then, let it run. And as you can see here, once that butter was nice and softened, mixing it up was nice and easy. Now we are getting ready to roll our cinnamon dough out for filling and cutting. So I'm taking some flour and putting that over my counter to prevent the dough from sticking to it. and I am now taking a rolling pin. No, first I'm using my hands and spreading it as much as I can just to make it easier to roll. And then for me, I rolled these quite thin. Like I wanted to make sure these cinnamon rolls were as I could get as much cinnamon rolls as I can from this dough alone, which was my goal was to get 12. We got 12. I think we got more. Let's see when we cut this up. But anyways, I rolled this out nice and thin to the point where I had to bring my camera like a bit higher so you can see how much dough we had. So now me and my sister are taking our cinnamon butter mixture and spreading it all across our dough. And as you can see here from the last video, it was so much easier to spread across and it just looks a whole lot more better. Now I am gently and tightly rolling this dough to a cylinder shape, and I'm making sure that I'm rolling it nice and tight but gentle, so there's like no air. It's nice and like the dough sticks to the mixture and it doesn't like separate once I cut it. And I accidentally rolled my dough a little too thin because you can see there's a bit of a hole in one of my cinnamon rolls, but that didn't do much damage. In fact, there's no damage at all. But yeah, you can see here, I made about, let's count, that's 8, that's 12. Oh my god, we made 16 cinnamon rolls, plus we had some extra dough left over. That's amazing. As you can see here, I covered that with tinfoil, and then I covered it up with a kitchen cloth. And the next morning, which was about 7 to 8 hours later, they arose and looked like this, which is amazing. They almost doubled in size, and they look so good. They look really nice, and I'm really impressed with how they came out. The ones at the bottom, though, however, could have like risen a bit better, but for the most part, they look pretty good. Then using the extra dough, I am gonna make like a little cinnamon twist. I actually put some like cinnamon sugar in it. As you can see, the cinnamon twist is right here, and I'm putting that to kind of be like my taste tester to see if the dough is cooked properly and to see if the cinnamon dough is to the taste of that I like, or to the consistency or to the texture that I like. And I baked these for about 10 to 12 minutes, took them out, and they had that bit of a golden brown color to it. And here you can see I tasted the cinnamon twist. It was pretty cooked, still a little bit doughy, so I'm like, okay, time to cover this up with tinfoil so they don't get like super crisp and dark like the last time where they were super hard on the outside and barely like soft on the inside. And then I put that in the oven, and then I took them out, which you can see I took them out right here, and they got a little bit darker, but not so dark, but the inside was cooked a lot more. And I basically just finished the entire twist, and it tasted pretty good. But however, I still felt like if I left them in for 5 more minutes, it would have a bit more of that bready texture that I was kind of going for in terms of like the cinnamon dough, like kind of like a dinner roll kind of bun taste, if that makes sense. But anyways, so after leaving it in for about 5 to 6 more minutes, which it was a total time of about 25 minutes, I really liked the consistency. I really liked the way it tasted and the way it looked on the outside. So yeah, I'm like, you know what, let's go for this. That made zero sense, but I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. And I was pretty satisfied with the way it looks. So I'm just like looking at it, analyzing it, and I'm like, you know what, it is what it is. Let's keep it as it is. And yeah. And here are some close-up photos of the cinnamon rolls. I'm really impressed with how these look. They're super pretty, super cute. Yes. So after that, I just used store-bought frosting and put that over the cinnamon rolls. I'm so impressed with the way they cooked. They cooked amazingly. I could have made the cinnamon roll frosting on my own. However, I was running late and couldn't be bothered to clean up more dishes, and the kitchen was getting quite crowded. And it was Easter morning the day I made these, so I'm like, let me just add some Cadbury eggs and make these really fun, super cute to match the theme. And also Easter was the occasion that I made these. Some people make resurrection rolls, some people make hot cross buns, but I feel like my Easter tradition will be making cinnamon rolls, and yeah. So these are my resurrection rolls. I don't know. So, yeah, now I am serving them to my siblings. These are so good. They literally lasted us from morning till night. We had these for breakfast, we had these for dessert, we had these after church. They tasted so good. They're so soft. Even my mom had one, and she's not a big fan of sweets, but she found these to be quite good. So that was a good sign to me. So here is a cinnamon roll from the sides. Am I going to show it to you? Hopefully I do. Do I? Okay, yes, I do. So here's how the cinnamon rolls look from the side. You can see they baked very well. They look really good. And I'm so proud of myself for how these came out. One of my favorite recipes that I've made from scratch so far. And yeah, basically this is what the cinnamon rolls looked like by like 8 p.m. They were basically done. And here are the cookies that I made alongside of them. So yeah, happy Easter. By the time I post it, it's still technically Easter until Pentecost. So yeah, and also here's my sister eating them. Honestly, I feel like she likes everything I make. So as long as she's happy, I'm happy. But yeah. Thank you guys for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye!